regarding the list. You say, to be clear, the Associated Press compiled that list? There
No,
was
no,
list.
no, I want to make it clear. We got an open records request from the AP about this issue. We supplied them with information regarding the issue, and their follow-up was, can you get us a list of every employee that has that code on their personnel file? So we therefore compiled a list, which previously did not exist, and gave it to them because we were following the open records law.
So a list came together after the FOIA request.
Right, which is why the director testified that there was no list, because there honestly was no list until we got the open records request.
So headlines in the media that would say blacklist, do not hire list, held by the state, that would be misleading to Iowans that there was a list actually being held by the state.
Right, and as I said in response to Representative Pettengill, there are numerous reasons why someone would be barred from state employment, and unless that law is changed, we have to follow the law and the administrative rule that was put in place in 1987.
Thank you.
Representative Carlson, be followed by Representative Munson. Sorry, we should be more quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to follow up. Just like to follow up on the questions regarding the exclusion for hire designation or status, whichever you recall. You said that there was a code on the file of the employees that they would probably know at the time of their termination or at the time that they would try to reapply for employment.
Just to clarify, they should know at the time of termination. If they don't know, if they don't recall or don't know that happened, if they were to reapply, they are sent a notice saying that you're not eligible. Here are the steps that you can take to appeal that decision.
That was going to be my question. Is there a process for notification, or a due process, an opportunity to appeal?
Yes.
During that, before that designation is stamped on the record?
There is, and I believe that this committee requested that, and if you haven't received it yet, I'll make sure that you get that, a copy of the appeal letter.
Okay.
Yeah. We've had quite a few requests lately. So.
And that's while they are an employee. That's not if they were to try to reapply, then or that.
They would get a letter,
Okay.
and it would say you are not eligible for state employment. However, if you disagree with this decision, yada yada yada.
Okay. That says the question. Thank you, sir.
Representative Lansing, to be followed by Representative Breyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Along those same lines, so the code that would have been put on the personal file, are there different codes if there are different reasons why someone is no longer eligible for state employee?
I'm not aware of that. I'd have to get back to you on that.
All right, and when the list was generated by whomever it was generated by and appeared, my colleagues have come to me hearing from their constituents that they saw their name on the list and they were totally unaware that they were on the list.
Well, as I said, this administrative rule goes back to 1987, so that is quite possible, Representative.
So for some of these citizens who are no longer working for the state and their name is suddenly on this list.
That's quite unfortunate, but we had to comply with the open records request.
So if they're curious why they're on that list, who do they go to now? It's not necessarily an appeal, but more a point of clarification.
I would advise them to contact the Human Resources Enterprise at VAS, and we will see what can be done.
And for anyone who would have a question about their code or being on the list, they should go through HR?
Yep. Michelle's going to kill me for volunteering for that. But.
And would there have been a better way for you to provide that information so it didn't get categorized in this list form?
I don't know the answer to that.
I'm just trying to think how...
We were responding to a request, Representative.
I understand you were responding to a request, but it's like all of this information got scooped. And so I think I can understand from the media point of view to put the information out there, that's the way they chose, but I'm just, the list, the way it appeared wasn't necessarily easy to follow. And if we have questions, I'm sure the people who are on that list have questions.
Absolutely.
And so I feel very badly for people who are now caught on the list that were totally unaware of it.
I agree 100% with you.
And you said there's different reasons. I guess I'd like to know too then, it goes back to the codes. I'd like more information on how you arrived at your coding system.
Yes, we can get you that.
And if that's HR, that's fine. I hope you will have them in to talk to, but it's,
We can get that information for
all
you.
right, thank you.
Senator Ryan.
Thank you. One, I'd like to continue just a little bit along this line of questioning. I believe that we all understand that the confidentiality involved in the reasons why someone is terminated or laid off. But referring back to what Representative Pettengill said, she's got some concern, as do I, especially with concerns of elder abuse, that someone who may have been terminated might possibly go back into the private sector and be working in an environment where they previously had proven that they were, for lack of a better term, not well suited to be employed. And with that in mind, and your understanding of the law, I know we can't ask for the list of people that are on the do not hire list, and well, because there's no need to, because the AP already did it. What I would like to know is, would it be a violation of the code if I requested a summary with no names attached to it, no addresses attached, no social security numbers attached, but a summary of the list of reasons that people were coded to no longer be hired by the state? Do you believe that would be a violation of the code if I put that request in?
I don't know the answer to that question. However, we'll certainly look into it, and if it is not a violation of the code, we'll supply that to you.
I think it would be interesting for everyone to understand exactly what it is we're dealing with. And I don't think we're going to know what we're dealing with until we have that information. Thank you very much.
Chair calls on Senator McCoy.
Thank you. The do not hire list is a fascinating conversation, and one that I'm looking forward to having HR in to talk about. I think the nuance of the art of non-disclosure is very interesting, related to non-disclosure about a list. I mean, if you can produce a list, we call that an exception report, and we go in and we code a field, and that we call a list. We call it an exception report. So perhaps we should have been asking for exception reports, but the art of using your words in a way that enables you to avoid the truth is a unique art, and I've noticed that is alive and well. Mr. Woodley, this question is for you. If you could walk me through the process for...
Wait a minute, point of order.
State your point, Representative.
My point is, if you're calling Lon Anderson a liar, could you just say it a little plainer instead of your coded words, etc., etc.? Do you have reason to believe that what he said isn't true?
excuse me for, trying to be direct. Let me be direct.
You weren't trying to be direct. You were trying to be evasive.
I said the art of non-disclosure. I said that what we were talking about is there was in fact data which was put in the form of an exception report, which was then put forward to the Associated Press. So when we asked Director Carroll the direct question of, is there a list? I said we should have asked, could you create an exception report?
Well, you were referring to Lon, not Director Carroll.
I was referring to Director Carroll.
Thank
I
you
said
for the discussion.
the art of non-disclosure was alive and well. And I stand behind that comment.
Senator, thank
Disagree.
you for hearing the concern, and please continue your questions.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Woodley, the report I'm referring to is actually the RFP that was of the Vets Home. If you could walk me through this, is this the RFP that you produced?
And I'm not certain which document you have, so
It's distributed, so it should be available to you.
if I may have borrow yours, thank you. Okay. I think I have the document in front of me of which you're referring.
Did you create that document?
If I may have a moment just to review it.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
It says RFP on the top. It's handwritten Iowa Vets Home RFP.
Yes, I believe so.
I need to get a clarification. Did you create this document?
Yes, I certainly would have been involved with the creation of this document.
And your name is on the document as the contact information person receiving these RFPs back, correct?
Yeah, likely if there were questions to be asked, there typically needs to have one person be the point of contact,
Sure.
not necessarily the individual who would have written the entire document.
Okay, well, I count your name 1, 2, 3 times on this document, including your email address. Your name's kind of all over it. So let's just go to the purpose of this document.
Okay.
What's the purpose of this document?
As I recall, sir, the purpose of this document was to obtain an organization to help us review the construction projects underway at the Iowa Veterans Home in Marshalltown, Iowa.
Okay, and the dates that this was posted.
The date on the copy that I have, sir, I believe is what yours says is July 5th, 2011.
And it's due when?
It says valid date until July 11 of 2011.
And that's at 12 noon.
Okay?
So 5 days, and the project was for what?
The project was for an initial review of the current state of construction projects at the Iowa Veterans Home in Marshalltown, Iowa.
Is it customary on a $25 or $26 million operation, which is what the scope of the project was at the Vets Home, is it customary to use this type of format for an RFP?
This was for an initial review and some on-site observation to let us know what the actual state of the project was. We were trying to understand where the project was because we knew that there was multiple concerns on that site.
But isn't it true that this initial review was what you used to select OPM as the architect of record for the Veterans Home?
It could have been, sir. I know that we selected a construction management firm to identify the needs there. I don't believe that this was the document that selected OPM, but I'm not certain.
Well, the concern that I have, Mr. Woodley, is that this is the form that went out. We gave a 5-day review, which is hardly enough time to publicize the scope of the project, and OPM was awarded the business. I have questions about who you brought in and who you interviewed, and I know they were very eager to have me stop questioning you because I'm out of time. But I was trying to allow you time to read this document and tell us if it was your document, and it is. And behind this document is a lot of questions related to how we let a $26 million project and changed horses and contractors and architects midway through the project of the Veterans Home, how we got into this process without a decent RFP process that was publicized and put out to the public so that they could understand that this is the scope of the project and this is the project that we awarded the bid to OPM with. And I have some real concerns about what stands behind this. So reserving my right to call you again, I'm going to ask the Senate Oversight Committee to please put you back on the list so that we can have a detailed conversation about this RFP process and everything included in the construction and management of the Iowa vets. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
As we're moving toward adjournment on that point, I'm sure that all members of both chambers would be interested in a brief written response to that question. And the chair next calls upon ranking member Luzanne Gaines, Representative Gaines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be brief because there's more information I would like to receive from you either today or it will probably be in the future. I've been contacted by several legislators who, in door knocking, as Representative Lansing indicated, have encountered employees who are on that list, the no hire, no retire list. And some of those people have found out as recently as this past weekend, and they don't seem to be aware of an appeal. Will you tell me once again where that is listed, that they can appeal it, how they are contacted?
Yes, the appeal comes if they apply for a job in state government. If they hadn't applied, they wouldn't have had any notice.
From the time they get a notice after having applied, how long do they have to appeal?
That I don't know.
I'd like to know that. And I'd also like to know who makes the decision on whether or not the appeal is accepted or rejected.
We can find out later.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Houston. I apologize, we only have a minute left, but you're next.
Okay, well, for the attention of the Senate Oversight Committee, we have sent out an agenda for tomorrow that we will be having Michelle Minahan from HR, who's probably your new best friend after you made those suggestions, but she'll be here tomorrow, as well as Jim Reardon from the PERB board. We have also extended an invitation to the House to consider joining us at that meeting. We have a 24-hour notification rule for the Senate, and so our agenda is already out. My question to you, Lon, is who recruited you to come work at DAS? Because I saw you didn't have a date of when you were hired. And
I was hired on, well, my first day was June 21st, 2012.
And who recruited you?
Director Carroll.
And Caleb Hunter, I also noted, he was not, his position was not advertised. Who recruited him?
Director Carroll, I believe.
Director Carroll recruited?
I honestly, I don't know. I assume so.
Okay, and then for Mr. Woodley, it appears that you have several former business acquaintances and friends who have joined DAS since you started. Can you tick off the names of people that you recruited to come work